we're, Paul's going to kind of lead us off, and then Barbara takes her sections, and I'll take mine, and we'll go from there. So, Paul, have at it.
Okay, I want to welcome everybody to the new program. Of course, it's because of the COVID and all the changes. This is a new kind of experimental program, and I'm glad you could join us. Next slide. Mary?
What? I'm here. I did the
thanks.
next.
Okay.
I did the next slide.
Good, thank you. Our instructors today, I'm Paul Eckler. I'm the master trainer for BOARC. The official title is Leadership Education Coordinator. And Barb Thompson is helping us today. And of course, she wears many hats, including past governor. And Mary Vaughn is our district secretary. So next slide. Okay, so here's kind of an overview of the kinds of things that we're going to cover today. We're hoping that everybody has done the online webinars that KR did for the individual officers. So this is a general program for the MOARC parts of things. So we're going to go into district leadership and volunteers, duties of the president, membership information, dues, invoicing, tax filings, information on our websites, member recognition, distinguished club guidelines, giving guidelines, and worldwide service package. Next. I hope everybody has gotten the new leadership guide. Everybody should be aware that Kiwanis International consolidated all the books that we used to use for training into the one leadership guide. So the 2020 leadership guide is shown on your screen. Every club is supposed to get 5 copies. That's one for each of the officers, including the president-elect, and one for the membership committee chairperson. They are available from your lieutenant governor, or you can download them on the CLE page on the MOARC website. And the MOARC website is moarckiwanis.net, and the CLE page is under the district information menu. But also, Mary and I both have extra copies, so if you can't have trouble coming up with a copy and you need one, we'd be delighted to get one to you. Next slide. Okay, so here are the officers. Carla O'Brien was just elected governor-elect. I think everybody knows AC Paxton is our new governor at the moment, governor designate. Ron Hill is our immediate past governor. Mary Vaughn is a secretary, and treasurer is Robin Asher. All this information is available on the MOARC website. Anytime you want to look it up, but at least we're kind of present it. So next slide. Here's a map of the divisions. We have 26 divisions and 9 regions in Missouri, Arkansas. And of course, sometimes people want to know where the boundaries are. So here's an updated map that has that information available. Next slide. Okay, here's our list of district trustees, recently updated. Next slide. And our lieutenant governors on 2 slides. You notice that we do have a few vacancies. We try to use CLE to identify people who'd like to do more things for Kiwanis. So, and these slides, as much as anything, let you know how many people it takes to make Kiwanis in Missouri, Arkansas district run. So, if you would like to do any of these jobs, especially if you see one that's marked as being vacant, please let somebody know. Your lieutenant governor or Mary Vaughn would be delighted to hear from you. Next slide.
Or if you know somebody that would like to take on that role or would be good in that role, let us know, because we can always make that contact.
And Mary, just to update everybody, it always used to be that you had to have been a club president to be a
Right.
lieutenant governor, and now it's president or secretary.
Right, correct. So you don't have to have been a president, because that does definitely limit our pool, so.
Right. So if you know some awesome secretaries, especially in the divisions that are vacant, we'd love to have them.
Mhm.
Next slide. We have quite a few volunteers who do things for the Missouri Arkansas District. And these slides, as much as anything, let you know how many there are and who does them. So here, this is the one in the service leadership programs. And you know, here we have our various committee chairs who do things. And of course, contact information for these people is available on the MOARC website. Next slide. So and there's the list. So there I'm showing as a leadership development coordinator. Next slide. Okay, when KI did the online training webinars, you know, usually when you sign up for something at CLE, we ask you to give your name and your club name in addition to your email address and your division. But KI just asked for district. And we've got all kinds of things in that blank, which made it interesting trying to figure out who attended that actually belongs to MOARC. So here's a slide to remind people how we're all organized. Your club is at the top with its own officers. They report to the division, which is headed by the Lieutenant Governor. In MOARC, we have the intermediate level, the regions, which are headed by trustees. And then finally, the district. So Missouri Arkansas District is our district, which is headed by our governor and has officers, secretary, and treasurer, and of course, all the service people that we just listed. And finally comes Kiwanis International. So I hope everybody is aware. We are the Missouri Arkansas District, which we often say MOARC as an abbreviation. So next slide.
Before we move on to the next slide, when you go out, and we highly encourage people to go out and review the modules that was presented by Kiwanis International in June. And so we highly recommend that you go out and check those out. And when you do, they'll have you fill out a who you are, and make sure under district you put Missouri, Arkansas. A lot of people have put a lot of different things, and we have to decipher who they are. But we strongly encourage you to go look at those, and when you do, make sure you put Missouri, Arkansas as your district. Is that correct, Barbara?
That is correct. Robin had a question, I think.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. When
sorry.
you say go out and check out, where am I going?
Oh, we have, there are some modules that
Where?
they're on the website, and
Okay.
they're also in the email that I sent out advertising this webinar.
Oh,
So
okay. I didn't read that.
they're available, and we can send them out again to you guys, and you guys can check them out. I'll go on and send that link to you, but it's out on the web.
And the link is on the CLE page on
Okay.
the MOARC website.
Okay, I will explore. No need to send me more email. Thank you.
Okay,
Really.
I understand.
And then Robin, you would pick well, you can look at any of them, but to get credit for like distinguished club, you would choose your position.
Yes, and Kiwanis actually invites all members to look at any of those if they want to.
Right, exactly.
So there's one for each of the officers and for the membership chair.
Okay, Barb, you're on, girl.
Okay, so here, thank you. And I want to thank you again, not just for attending, but for stepping up to be officer, because the club is where everything happens, and the officers lead what happens and and follows through in all the little details that enable things to happen. So right now my club is trying to put yard signs in the yards of the key club members who graduated, And that has taken so much amazing amount of detail and dead ends, and it's just one little thing, but that we appreciate that you're doing that. So the recommendation to club presidents, if you got to attend the training in June, was that you appoint your committee chairs by July 15th. It's past July 15th, but you still have time to get this done this summer. If you are president and you're going in and thinking that all the committee chairs are going to stay, that may not be true. And you may have some overlooked people who would make really good committee chairs. So consider them carefully. Ask them to select their committee members. It's also past August 1st, but you could go to August 15th. And then have the president's planning conference. And there is a page in the leadership guide, page 21, that speaks to that, of the things that you want to do. And it gives you the purpose of the conference, one of which is to come up with, or at least start the planning of the budget. If you've had an existing treasurer, the treasurer probably has a template and a really good idea, but you want to consider what you're going to do this year. And you also want to consider if you've had canceled fundraisers and what you can put in their place. I've just gotten some really good virtual fundraisers. So Paul, could we post those on the website too?
That sounds good. Hey, Barbara, can I interrupt you real quick?
Absolutely.
Does everyone on this call have a leadership guide?
Yeah, that's a good question.
If you don't, let me know and I'll make sure between Paul and I, we will send that to you. But we just want to know, and put in the chat, just write in the chat if you need us to send you one, and we'll get you one.
Right.
We don't want anybody to go without a leadership guide.
Some people prefer the virtual one because they can search it better, but I like to have both. I like to have the virtual one to search and the other one to make a copy of a page or whatever. But anyway, and it is very helpful. The leadership guide in the past had a monthly checklist for each office, and that's not in this leadership guide because it's been condensed into one leadership guide for all offices, which is nice because you're seeing what the others have. So Paul has added the monthly checklist for the treasurer, the secretary, and the president, and it's on the CLE page on the district website. It's also on Kiwanis.org under member resources. I would really advise you to check that. And one of the things that sometimes happens is, you know, every year by May, we're supposed to elect our officers. And so May comes and sometimes we're in the position of going, oh, we need to elect officers. And you go back and look, and it takes weeks of preparing a ballot and sending that out to everybody in the club and letting them self-nominate. So you can't just say, oh, we're going to have the election. So look at that monthly checklist so it keeps you on track of what things you need to do in.
You want me to go out and show the web, or do you want to wait till a little later to show where member resources is at?
This would be a good time, Mary.
Okay, hang on a second, folks.
And Mary's going to go to the main Kiwanis.org page, and she's going to show you how to get to these member resources and how to get to the club leader information.
Is it up? Is it up on your screen, Barb?
It is.
This is the main page. If you go to Kiwanis.org, this is the page that will come up, and it has a lot of information on it. But where you want to go is up here in the right-hand black bar, as Barb calls it. It says member resources. And if you click on member resources, which nothing seems to be moving real fast on my computer, you go down to training. And if you click on the training, it takes you to a lot of different levels of training. And you would want to go to club leader. And if you click on the club leader, it says club president, education, secretary, treasurer, board member, and then the leadership guide is also there. So as club president, you just click on that and you can see all the resources that you might need are all under president resources. And it's the same for the secretary and for the treasurer and for the board member. So I highly encourage you guys to go check that out, because this, of course, secretary has a lot of resources available. So you can easily access anything on this web page that you need. It's got the club bylaws. It's got, you know, board minutes, how to do board minutes if you need that help, budget worksheet that you can work with the treasurer, new member applications, monthly checklist. It's got all of your information out here that you might need for your year as secretary. So I highly encourage anybody to go out and check that out, that, you know, you may want to check that out. Is that it, Barb?
Great. Could you go back, Mary, to the could you go back to the president link?
I can.
Okay, click on that.
Okay.
And if you scroll all the way down, you see the other president resources that are very helpful there, particularly installation of club officers and script. Often the lieutenant governor does that, but sometimes you have a club officer elected in the middle of the year and you need that installation script. So it's there, and Paul also has it on under the club leadership education on Missouri, Arkansas. The other thing that he has there that you will be doing is inducting new members. And there are 3 scripts on the MOARC page for inducting new members. So just try to remember that. I think that's the single thing that I get the most requests for, is the induction of new members. And it's usually, we're going to induct a new member at our meeting today that starts in 10 minutes. Can you send me the script? And I'm always glad to, but I know that feeling of panic when you can't find something, or if I don't answer or whatever, then you have another access point. Thank you, Mary.
Go back where we were. I can figure that out.
There we are.
I think we're here.
Yes. So we want to go to the next slide now, please. Also in the leadership guide, it goes through your responsibilities. And there are 3. Works closely with board of directors and committee chairs to establish and follow a strategic plan. Now we have for many, many years, probably since 2015, 16, had a strategic plan that had 4 pillars. And this year they added a 5th pillar. So we've always had membership and engagement, service, image or PR, and finance. Now there's a 5th pillar of education and leadership. And so that's what they are asking, that you do a strategic plan. I would caution you not to spend too much time on the strategic plan. You need to make it, but if you spend 6 months of the year on it, then you don't have much time to implement. So one of the clubs in our division does a really good job with their strategic plan. They keep it really simple. They have a simple strategic plan, and every activity that they do, the next meeting after the activity, they spend just a few minutes evaluating if it achieved its goals. And they do a really good job of getting rid of things and adding new things. But again, they keep it simple. Set goals for improving the members club experience. And it just seems like it's really easy, or not easy. It seems like, you know, you're always pedaling as fast as you can just to get to the club meetings and to make it happen. To think about setting goals for improving the members club experience. And the leadership guide recommends using the Achieving Club Excellence tools which you also have links to find out what the members are, they think that they're lacking. Sometimes if you're a club leader, you don't see how they're experiencing the meetings and service projects and fundraisers. And then finally, increasing the club's impact in the community by adding new members. And our governor that you're going to be serving under, he has summed up the year with membership. So we're really going to be working on adding members to your clubs and building as many new clubs as we can. But his campaign is Each One, Reach One, and he'll be unrolling that. But that campaign is everyone bring in a new member. The number one qualification, empowering and inspiring members. And you know, I always think, oh my gosh, it's to get through the meeting. It's the number one qualification. But the number one qualification is empowering and inspiring members. Next slide. This is about the dues. You probably know this, but this is just a rundown to remind you. We pay every year $52 in KI dues, $8 for the magazine, $17 for the insurance, and that's $14 for liability, $13 for liability insurance that protects you against anything accident happening, and $4 for directors and officers insurance. And that protects the club so that if the officers make a poor decision, no one can be sued. It also protects the officers. And then you decide on your own club dues. Corporate dues are the same amount. If you have a husband and wife in your club, make sure that they claim the $8 credit for the magazine if they just want one magazine. Some couples want both magazines and they take one to the doctor's office or the library or barbershop or wherever. I don't know if we can still do that. Some doctor's offices are not accepting magazines now, but you know, they use the second magazine for advertising. So find out from your married couples how they want to do that $8 for the magazine. Life membership is 15 times 52, and you have to have been a member for 3 years. Then that person gets a $52 credit in the home club. If the member belongs to more than one club, it's not a credit in every club, it's just the home club. For any former members of Key Club or Circle K, if they sign up, they get a 2 years dues credit. Actually, it's 1 year of the new member fee credit and 1 year of the dues credit. So the first year, they don't have to pay anything. And the second year, they'll have to pay for magazine, insurance, magazine and insurance. Some clubs pay that for their former SLP members so that the SLP members don't have to pay anything. Mary, let's go on to the next slide. That's good. So our new member ad fee, that's what you pay the first year that someone joins, is $50 for KI and $20 for MOARC, and that's $70. It's waived for former SLP members, Key Club and Circle K. Currently, there are not any new member ad fees. That was passed by the board of Kiwanis International Board on April 22nd, and the MOARC board followed suit, so there are no ad fees. In addition, if you have anybody who joins between August 1st and September 25th,
Oh, I'm sorry, that's a mistake.
Yeah, September 25th, MOARC will reimburse you $97 for that new member. So if you can get someone to join now, they'll be free till the end of this year and they'll be free till the end of next year, unless you charge club dues, unless you're going to charge them something for the club. But this is really a good opportunity if you've had sometimes young people are on a tight budget and there have been furloughs, so this would be a way of getting them engaged now And especially if they are furloughed, they have time. It's a wonderful opportunity. Next slide. Okay, this is a sample schedule for club dues invoicing. If you don't invoice quarterly or every 6 months, do any of you do quarterly invoicing? Okay, if you don't, this is a sample schedule. You need to make sure your annual dues in your club bylaws are correct. If you've changed your dues, you need to revise the club bylaws. And that is so that any member can look in the bylaws and see what the dues are. By August 15th, earlier, I belong to a couple of clubs and I've already been invoiced by 2 of the clubs. The secretary issues the invoices to the members. This secretary invoicing is so that we have the checks and balances between the secretary and treasurer. So the ideal is that the secretary issues the invoices and actually gets the payment, records the payment, and sends it on to the treasurer. At the very least, the secretary needs to be issuing the invoices, and best practices is for 2 people to be handling all billing and payments. By September 30th, the club board needs to suspend the non-payers, and the secretaries need to drop the suspended non-payers. In my club, I'm secretary, and for the first few years, people would say, oh, I'm going to pay, keep me on the roll, keep me on the roll. Well, I did, and the second year, I thought the club board was going to kill me. So now I drop anybody who's not paid by September 30th. And also by September 30th, any new members must be entered. If you don't enter them till October 1st, they don't count on your year-end count. And if you're dropping members, you want to have replaced them and then some. On October 1st, Kiwanis International will freeze the roster. And it's usually for until October 5th, so that you have between the 5th and the 10th that you can drop members that said they were going to pay by September 30th and didn't, or or somebody who sends in a letter of resignation at the last minute. You can make those drops until October 10th. Whatever's on your roll in the computer on October 10th, you have to pay for. So you need to be really careful about that. I don't know if any of you have gotten caught in somebody telling you that they would pay and they didn't, or not knowing that somebody dropped, but
That happens at our club a lot. So
yeah,
we've gotten to where we'll drop them and then we'll just have to re-add them. You know, that's all you can do.
Right, right. One thing that happens that you need to be prepared for that I didn't quite grasp is then their length of service in your club starts over again. And that happened to a member in our club, and every so often she tells me, you know, I reported you to Kiwanis International for doing that. But anyway, that's what happens. Next slide.
That's Paul.
Paul, yeah.
All right, so I want to remind everybody about the IRS filing requirements. We are all tax exempt clubs, corporations, and we need to file with the IRS every year. Form 990 is the one. If your club fiscal year starts on October 1st, which is the case with most of us, then your report is due on February 15th. If you fail to file for 3 years, the IRS can revoke your tax exemption. And if that happens, then you have to pay fees and reapply with a long form, about 17 pages. So it's really worth your while to make the effort to file. And actually, you can file online, and it's a postcard style report, which essentially tells the IRS that your club is still in business, and for this year, your officers and contact information is recorded. Next slide. There are also filing requirements with the state. with the Secretary of State. Our clubs are incorporated in the respective states. In Missouri, we file every other year. The report is due in August, and you can file online for a $25 fee. I understand in Arkansas, it's still an annual filing. If you fail to file, then basically the state can cancel your incorporation. So then you have to file paperwork to get reinstated.
In Arkansas, excuse me, Paul, but in Arkansas, it's due by August 15th.
I think both of them are actually due in August, yes.
Well, they are both due in August.
The federal one and the state one, they send you notices on when these are due as a reminder. But it's important to keep your club mailing address accurate and up to date. If it's some member who's no longer with the club or something, or things get lost in the mail, it gets complicated. So do make sure you keep that information up to date. Yes.
Question, is this filing information on the calendar that comes for, what do we call it? The
monthly to-do list?
Yeah, calendar monthly checklist, yes.
The IRS one is, the state one, it's probably up to us to remind you, up to MOAR to remind you.
And that was sent out in the last constant contact update that I sent out the end of July, or somewhere later in July. I sent out a constant contact to remind everyone that it was time to do that.
Right.
So that information's out there.
Well,
I think we should remind people who use email for lots of communication. So continue to check your emails.
Well, I'm going to just jump in, I guess. It is very helpful for nonprofit organizations to have an annual calendar with these dates laid out so that you can plan ahead and not depend on missing an email to get that. I'm going to suggest adding those things if they aren't there, and excuse me if I've missed it, but that annual checklist or annual calendar saves many, many mistakes.
Well, and you know what? We probably don't use the calendar as well as we should. And that's a good point, Robin. And maybe that's what we'll do in the future, is try to keep that calendar up to date.
I'll commit to making one for my club and sharing it with you.
Awesome.
Oh, that'd be great.
Okay.
Wonderful.
I want to solve the problem. I don't want to just make
No, I understand. And I think that is helping us to solve the problem, because we put things out on the calendar, but there are some things we're still kind of slow at. And so that's a good thought to do that do a calendar.
Yeah.
Put that on the calendar.
Every board member should have a copy of that kind of checklist calendar.
Right. That is great. Thank you, Robin. And one other thing is that in the leadership guide, it's listed that the secretary files all of this, including the 990.
Right.
In my club, the treasurer does both. So
Yeah.
you just need to figure out who does it and that they're keeping up with it, and that calendar will help us. But the secretary is responsible for keeping a copy of everything. As
Brent Stewart with the Crestwood Sunset Hills, he's been the secretary there for a while. He does a great job. Missouri, once you file, now I know with Arkansas, because Missouri, Arkansas is listed in Arkansas. We actually filed our chartering and everything was in Arkansas. They do send out postcards. Once you do a report, you get a postcard from either state to remind you that it's time to do your filing. So if you haven't done it, that's the reason you haven't gotten a postcard. So we will put that on a calendar, but if you haven't filed before, you probably need to do that.
And sometimes the last person who filed it's getting the postcard and not sharing it,
Right.
or that person has left the club. And I've
Yeah.
many times the clubs that get into trouble get the records from the person who did this before, and all those postcards are filed in there.
Correct.
But there was never any registration.
Right.
Can I offer a little more advice here? If you find yourself in that kind of a situation where it just didn't get done and it's gone beyond 3 years, maybe, and you're really in trouble, but it's really worth your while to enlist someone like a CPA to negotiate that out. Usually the IRS is not trying to shut down Kiwanis clubs or anybody else that's trying to
No.
do
You're right.
so, but get a professional person to take care of it, and it'll probably vanish within a month or two.
Well, just so that,
Kiwanis International actually has a webinar on how to get reinstated if you get revoked
Yeah.
by the IRS. But you
Yeah,
do have to
sometimes-
fill out the long form and pay the big fee, $400 to $850.
well,
Yeah,
the Bridgeton Kiwanis Club that I think is a really good club. We actually had a treasurer that didn't do jack diddly squat for a while. And so we lost our tax exempt status. We lost our 501c3. We lost all this stuff. And we had to work our buns off to get that reinstated. And so, yeah, it can easily happen and you don't even know. But yeah, it's good to have somebody help you make all that work.
yeah. Sometimes the magic words make a lot of stuff go away.
Exactly. Thanks, Robin.
Next slide.
Marietta has a really good question in the
Oh, I
chat
didn't see it.
box.
Okay.
If our form says 2019-20 biennial registration report, does that mean it is not due again until 21-22?
I would say that's
Yes.
the case, Paul, isn't it?
Brent said
I'm
yes.
sure Brent can answer better than I can.
If Brent said yes, it's true.
Yes.
So in
He's on
Missouri,
it.
every
He-
other year,
And he's also a CPA, correct?
yes.
Yes. So, yes.
Jeff has a suggestion that maybe a club, especially if it's a club that has had changeover and you lose stuff, that maybe you should set up a PO box for your club so that if somebody's gone, somebody else is getting that information from the post office. You know, they're getting the cards and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, maybe that's something that clubs need to look at.
Right. That's a good
Good
thought.
suggestion, Jeff.
Yes. You just need to make sure that there are multiple people that have access, because if it's the person that is collecting all the notices and not filing them, and that's the person that has the PO box, you got to have two people, probably secretary and treasurer or something like that.
Right.
Good idea, Jeff. Thank you.
Next
Hey,
slide.
Paul, where are we going? Are you
Next
ready?
slide. Okay, Kiwanis International has announced that they're providing free club websites to Kiwanis clubs. I think this is because they're getting ready to phase out Portal Buzz. But basically, if you would be interested, if your club is interested in having one of these new websites, send me an email and I will get you the application, or actually we have it posted on the website with the link. But basically, when you do this, when you file, you get a sample website, which you then can modify to fit the requirements of your club. They have training modules, and there's a Microsoft Teams site where the webmasters can exchange ideas and discuss problems and things like that. All of this is provided by Kiwanis International at no cost to the clubs. Kiwanis hosts the websites and manages the WordPress software. Okay, and then you can see a summary of the features on the side of your screen there. It's a pretty extensive kind of program.
Paul, I've been out there playing around with our website. I haven't got it up and running yet, but I've been doing some of the tutorials. Do you provide some of the training for that?
I try, but I'm in the same situation. we actually have 3 clubs. Bridgeton, Joplin, and Jackson are the 3 clubs that have applied for this new website.
And it's really nice. I really like the website. It's just learning all the ins and outs of how to get your information up on the screen. But it's really cool, and I'm sure at some point in time we'll all become proficient at it. Maybe.
Next slide. Okay, here's a summary of the MOARC website, which is at moarckiwanis.net. And basically, we try to have all the information that MOARC has available filed there. There's actually an index file so that you can find what's there when you're looking for it, at least we hope. But anyway, we have a news column, and of course, we have contact information for the officers and various people within the MOARC. There's information on conventions and foundations, scholarships, a key leader, tax-exempt guidelines, and membership information dues, all kinds of stuff. So we hope that whatever information you're looking for is available there, and encourage you to look there first when you're looking for information. But of course, most of this information actually comes from Mary Vaughn. So if you can't find it, she's probably the one to contact. Next question, next slide. Okay, we also have a CLE page, which is on the website and actually has a tiny URL address. So you can go directly to that page if you want to, but it's under the district information menu item on the MOARC website. We have a list of certified trainers. We have about 25 people who volunteer as trainers every year. We try to have one in every division. We haven't achieved that yet, but I keep trying. And the idea is that there's somebody there locally to help you if you have questions. So the trainers are good people to ask if you're having troubles with, something about the secretary's dashboard or whatever. That's probably a good place to ask for help. We have copies of handouts. When you do CLE training in person, we usually have a pretty good collection of handouts at the back of the room. Those are available for download from the website. And we also have, that's where you can get the leadership guide in the virtual download form. And also the CLE PowerPoints are there. If you want some details, you want to review something that you saw in the presentation, you can find it there. Next slide, please.
Also, we're going to, I've recorded both this session and the one on Wednesday, and they'll both be, I'll give those links to Paul so he can post them as well. So you can go back and review these videos if you want to.
Yes. Okay, so here's a list of the handouts, the kinds of things that we have, links to various information on all kinds of things. If you change your dues and you need to revise your bylaws, there's a summary on how to do that. Invocations, non-denominational invocations are subject. Information of fellowship, samples of meeting minutes, distinguished club links, parliamentary procedures, recognition of members, and all kinds of things. Next slide, please. It's quite a list of things: ways to say thank you, youth protection guidelines, annual budget samples, leadership guide, the PowerPoints, and there's the link direct to the website, to the CLE page. And as Barb points out, schedules, recommended schedules for the officers have a link that's also there. Next slide, please. Okay, MOARC has a Facebook page where we do a lot of things where we try to share what clubs are up to, put event flyers up there, fundraisers, your community service presentations when you're passing out awards or doing donations to local charities. Those are the kind of things that we put up there, and the idea is, of course, to let people know what other clubs are doing share the good news, and maybe even share some ideas on what your club can do. The address of the group is up there. You have to spell out the word Missouri, Arkansas, Kiwanis, if you want to find it by searching on Facebook. Next slide, yes. Okay, and then here's the Kiwanogram details. Of course, that's our MOARC newsletter. Diane Baker is the editor. It gets published 6 times a year these days as a PDF and distributed by email, by constant contact. And here's Diane's contact information. She likes stories that have photographs in them. She likes to have them 2 weeks before the issue is to be published. And the Kiwanograms get posted on the MOARC webpage. So, of course, if you want to read some of the past issues, things like that, they are there to look at. Next slide.
Before we move on the Kiwanogram, the issue dates are listed on the web page under Kiwanogram, and we are working on the August issue now that'll come out the end of August. So if anybody has anything to share, make sure you get it to Diane within the next week or so.
Next slide.
Okay, we've got member recognition. There's a lot of different forms of member recognition that's out there for your clubs, and it's very important that you try to recognize your members if they're doing good things, because then they'll continue to do good things, and hopefully other members will see that and do good things as well. For members, there's the life member status, which we gave you those amounts earlier under membership dues. A club could pay for a member to be a life member. That would cut down on the amount of money they pay each year and give them some special recognition. They get a special name badge that says that they're a life member. We have the Legion of Honor, which is listed under member recognition. You get a lapel pin and a certificate of 25 years of service, and then it's at 5-year increments after that. And we have found with our club that it's a great way to make sure that members know that people have been in the club for a long time. We are actually celebrating the end of this month our 50-year member, Lyle Downs, who isn't a charter member, but he came in shortly after our club was chartered. And so we're recognizing him with his Legion of Honor for 50 years. And it's really a great way to recognize the people that have been in your club in longevity, because you really want those people to stay in your club. A Ruby K pin, it's for signing up 5 or more new members, sponsoring 5 or more new members. And every increment of 5, you can get a new Ruby K. So I think that that is a great way to recognize your members. Distinguished Member Award, that's given from KI, and it's generally for bringing in members into your club. You know, it's membership is what it's all about right now. Then there's the George F. Hickson Fellowship that you can purchase for a member and present to them. And I think with that, they get a plaque, and they get a, what do you call those?
Medallion.
A medallion that they can wear around their neck, that they can, you know, wear at different Kiwanis functions. And it's a nice thank you. And of course, one of them that are really popular right now is the Walter Zeller Fellowship, and that's from KI for the Eliminate Project. And right now, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit later, it's $12.50, and a lot of clubs will give $1,000, and then Missouri, Arkansas has a matching program, and they'll pay $250 of that amount for people to get a Zeller, and that goes towards your club's pledge towards Eliminate. Then there's the Harold Martin Fellow that you can get for Key Club Youth Opportunities, and it's $250. There's the Carthage Pullman Society Fellow that you can get for Circle K's Tomorrow's Fund. and then the Sapphire Circle Honorary Fellow, and that also goes to Circle K Tomorrow's Fund for $1,000. So there's a lot of different things that you can see, and all of these things are listed in your leadership guide on page 62 and 63. Distinguished club guidelines. In order to have a distinguished club, we are changing the guidelines for 2021, and it is going to state that in order to have a distinguished club, you have to meet these first two goals, and that is to have a net increase in membership of 2 or more members. Rather than the one that we've always done, we want 2 or more. We want everybody to step up and do better. And club must have appointed a membership and a public relations chair. So you have to have met those 2 goals, because those are what really is going to help increase our membership. And then 5 of the following 6, and that's either to sponsor or co-sponsor a new Kiwanis Club or service leadership program, and we want to know what it was. And then that both the president and the secretary attended club leadership education on or before September 30th, and they can do it online. There is an online membership, and then of course the modules that you can look at. And was your club represented by 1 or more at the following, and this is going to be interesting this year because, you know, we had the mid-year education days. So if anybody in your club attended any of those, but of course we did have to cancel 3. The district convention was canceled and the international convention was canceled. But at least if they've attended a division council meeting or a regional meeting, they will get credit for that as well. And then did your club provide service projects or programs for children of the community? And if you did a service project, we want to know that. And did the club support Eliminate or the Kiwanis International Foundation, which most clubs do? And did the club sponsor a service leadership program or contribute to the district's outreach fund and contribute to at least one of the following, either the Earl Collins Foundation, the Foundation for Camp Kiwanis, or Key Leader? So we want to make sure you guys are doing at least 5 of those 6 so you can get credit for being a distinguished club. So we want to make it a little harder to be a distinguished club, not just you've done what you're supposed to do and you get distinguished. We want to make sure people are really stepping it up. And so as we talk about the MOARC foundations, of course, we have the Earl Collins Foundation, which most of you are aware of. It's an annual scholarship for each division. So they give out 26 scholarships. They make donations to the district SLPs, and they are currently working on the headquarters structure at the Beatrice Johnson Kiwanis Youth Camp, which is located in Russellville, Arkansas. And one thing I really am pleased with Earl Collins is that they're making a 3-year commitment to donate $25,000 a year to Camp Kiwanis towards that headquarters. So I think that is wonderful that they're trying to do that. It's a great facility, and I strongly encourage anybody to go down and visit. And then they give out $500 grants for SLP projects. And they have a trustee from each division that participates in the work of the foundation. Now they offer 2 recognition programs that you could use to recognize your members. The Les Mace Fellowship is $150 and they get a plaque with that. And then the Zimmerman Society, which is $1,000. And I think they get a plaque, and don't they get a medallion as well?
It's a medallion and a pin and a certificate, not a plaque. Yeah. And
I haven't gotten one, so I didn't know.
and the Les Mace Fellowship is also recorded. Each each fellowship is numbered, and
Oh, that's
you
right.
will be, your legacy will be there forever, because we're keeping it from one. We started at one, and so there'll always be a record of your having received it.
Wonderful. Thanks, Barb. And then, of course, the other foundation that now Earl Collins Foundation is actually the giving side of Missouri Arkansas district. The business side is Missouri Arkansas District, and the giving side is Earl Collins Foundation. Now, we do have another foundation in the district, and it's the Beatrice Johnson Kiwanis Youth Camp Foundation. So all the money that you give to either Earl Collins or to Beatrice Johnson, of course, is tax deductible. And as I said earlier, it's a developing camp. It's great. It's 160 acres of land that was donated to us by Beatrice Johnson. And we are in the process of developing that. And it's coming along. We've already got water, we've got electricity. We've got a number of campsites that have been developed, and it is a nature camping location for like Boy Scouts, any kind of youth groups. They actually tent camping, and we've already put in, we have a storage facility down there, and of course a pavilion. So we're really coming along, and it's going great guns. And then we also have, for Region 4, something we set up a number of years ago, is the Kiwanis Gateway Foundation, which Carla, who's on our call with us, Carla O'Brien, our president-elect, governor-elect, is the chair at the moment for the foundation. And it is a 501c3 that we developed in Region 4 because we had this inter-club council, and we all met on a regular basis, and we decided to make it a foundation so that all of the different clubs could use that as, you know, they're giving, they can use that as a foundation that they could have some of their events through, that people could get a tax deduction. So it's a great foundation, and we have it locally for Region 4. And then all this info is on the website at moarkkiwanis.net. And then we go into our giving guidelines, and this is sent out to all of the clubs every year. Missouri Arkansas Board recommends that all clubs budget $20 a member to give to foundations and youth groups. Earl Collins, they recommend that you give $5 per member. And I've got the addresses here, but they're also on the website. So $5 a member would go to Earl Collins. $5 a member would go to the Outreach Fund, which goes to our SLPs. We break that down every year of all the money that we get from Outreach, and it's divided evenly between Key Club, Circle K, Key Leader, and Beatrice Johnson Youth Camp. So all that money is given back into the community. And then, of course, the Children's Fund, we recommend $10 a member to meet their goals. And that can be done straight to Kiwanis Children's Fund or through the Eliminate program. So we strongly encourage people to give. And that's my part. Barbara?
Well, yes, I'd like to talk about Eliminate. We entered into Eliminate in 2010. It is a worldwide, it's our worldwide service project. Mary, can you advance back to the map of the Eliminate map?
Oh, there's the Eliminate map.
This was as of December 2019. The Eliminate project was actually started before Kiwanis. Was started with funding by the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Johnson & Johnson Pampers Diapers. But the proposal was submitted to Kiwanis International because they wanted to accelerate the pace. So since we started in 2010-11, we have eliminated all but 12 countries of having maternal and neonatal tetanus, or having people die from that. And of course, we have tetanus everywhere, but in developed countries, we get a tetanus shot that prevents us from becoming sick when we come into contact with tetanus. In third world countries, they don't have such a vaccine, and they have conditions that often cause death by tetanus. One of the primary ones is birthing. The birthing conditions are often not sterile, and a favorite tool for cutting the umbilical cord is a sharpened bamboo stick, which has tetanus in it naturally, and then tetanus gets through the umbilical cord to both the mother and child, which often results in the death of both. So $1.80 is all it takes to vaccinate a mother of childbearing age. It's actually 3 injections, and that protects her for 10 years, as well as all of her children that are born during those 10 years. They have passive protection for 6 months. So we have been able to eliminate maternal and neonatal tetanus in all but the countries that you see on the map in red, or they were eliminated before 2000. So we're winning the battle. One of the awards that Mary talked about before was the Zeller, and I have a Zeller on. I wear it a lot, nearly every day, and I really like the look of it. It's the bond between the mother and child. The thing I also like about it is it's a conversation piece. Many people will comment on it, how they like it, and ask me what it is, and then I get to talk about Kiwanis. And the Eliminate Project really stirs the imagination of many people who then are willing to join Kiwanis because they want to help. And I tell this story often, but at the end of the day, when I have been engaged in, and I've donated to Eliminate, I can say, I know I saved a life. Even though I messed everything else up all day long, I know I did something good. So I like that. And as Mary said earlier, if your club donates $1,000, the Mohawk District will match it with $250, and you get credit for then having given $1,250. Plus, you have the opportunity to give someone in your club a Zeller. This is the medallion. There's also a pin. And when about, I can't remember how many years ago, we opened the Arnold Club, and the president-elect really loved the Zeller. And she said, when you die, I want you to leave that to me. Now, every time I see her, she says, don't forget, when you die, you're going to leave me that. It makes me feel kind of bad because that's her only interest in me is my dying, giving her my Zeller. But
I think I'd just buy her one.
yeah.
Might be easier.
Right. I asked Roger how long that offer's good. He said, for now, it's good till December 31st, but he's going to see if it can last till the end of the Kiwanis year next year. So that's a way of giving $1,000. And there's one club in Division 7 that the pledge was made a long time ago, and all the members are new since then, and they didn't know about it. But they want to raise the remaining $1,250. It just happens to be $1,250. So now their goal is to get $1,000, and they can pay off their pledge. So it's a great opportunity. Next slide. I think it tells about what I just talked about. The Missouri-Arkansas District made a pledge of $1.8 million, and we have paid all but $50,000 of that, which is amazing when you consider that we've raised $1.8 million. And it has saved and protected 1 million mothers and their babies from maternal neonatal tetanus. Well, it will when we get to 1.8 million because it's $1.80 per mother. Some of Roger's suggestions are to have key clubs trick or treat for UNICEF. I don't know that they're going to be able to trick or treat for UNICEF this year, but you could talk to them about what they're willing to do. 2 of our key clubs, the school is totally virtual, but they are going to have virtual extracurricular activities. So we look forward to meeting with the key club. And if you have a key club, it'd probably be good once school started to ask if you can have virtual meetings. I think right now the principals are just in panic mode of getting everything ready, because what the principals I know tell me is that they get the plan done and the next day it changes. So they have to write a new plan. So anyway, they're kind of overwhelmed right now. And then it talks about the matching funds, and there's the information of Roger Jesperson, who is the district eliminate advocate, and there's his email and phone number. So if you're interested, please contact him. And thank you for considering.
Okay, well, we're at the end of our presentation. Are there any, I will unmute you all. And if there's any questions that you guys might have, feel free to offer up. I can't seem to unmute everybody, so if you're not unmuted and you want to ask a question, just unmute yourself. Does anybody have any questions they want to ask?
Mary, I've got a question.
Okay.
There was a mention made towards the beginning of the meeting about ideas for fundraising in this COVID environment.
Yes.
Would you be willing to discuss some of those now, or at least point us to resources for those?
Yeah, that's fine. We'll let Barbara explain that to you.
Right. I would be two that I just heard about, and one that I participated in. One was a paddle war. And I don't know if you've had, if you've ever done quarter auctions. I hadn't.
No.
But, okay, so a paddle war, this is what this club did, and it was Thursday night, and I participated in it. First, they sent out advertisement about buying your paddle, buy your paddle, buy your paddle, and that paddle costs $25. Then what happened, and I didn't know, they didn't explain what was going to happen. Thursday night, they had a Facebook Live event. Every paddle had a number, and they drew the numbers of the paddles. On the Facebook page, they listed all the names and the numbers. And so then they drew them and told you what you won. And so that was one way. Another opportunity to do the same thing. Let me go back to that. If you're going to do that, I would recommend that you let people know what they're going to do with the paddle, and maybe put pictures of the baskets online. Also, there is a place called 321 Auctions, and they will run an auction for you. It's free if it's 20 or fewer baskets. So my home club was going to have a trivia night, which of course we can't have, but we've got baskets. And so we're going to use 321 Auction for the baskets. And it's a platform where you can put the pictures of the baskets and set up how they're going to pay. And you might have a PayPal account, but does everybody know about Cash App? And there are 3 free applications, and you might want to use one of those. It doesn't cost anybody any money. You don't have to pay a percentage. There is a nonprofit PayPal, which only charges 2.2, which is less than they charge regularly, but there still is a fee on that. A third one that I just heard about, and I do have information that I can give to Paul to post, is the Coolest Pet Contest. So everybody submits copies of their pets, and there's a first, second, and third prize. Now, my friend who sent this to me said, she's in Pennsylvania, and she said they made $4,000. I think they were really good on the PR, and there was a prize worth $75 for the coolest pet, and worth $50 for the second coolest pet, and $25 for the third coolest pet. But evidently they got enough pets entered to make $4,000. So I'll send that to all that information to Paul to post on the website under CLE. I also have
if you send it to me, I can send it out to everybody on this screen.
Okay. I also have a PowerPoint, but it's it'll have to be posted. It's like 50 megabytes that was developed by a woman in California that has several good ideas for also, it's actually a combination of service projects and fundraisers, but some of them are little, some of them are bigger, and it seems to be related to how much effort you have to put into it. But, you know, in that we're having everything canceled, we have to do something.
Right.
Our club is having a raffle. We're selling 250 tickets for $20 a piece. We're raffling off as our gift certificates that we got for our trivia night that got
Right.
canceled.
So
Also, there are plenty of other fundraisers like the Flamingo game, where you collect a fee from members to keep from getting a flamingo posted in your front yard. Those kind of games are very possible.
right.
I've heard of those.
There's also lunch with a leader that Kiwanis International has every Wednesday, and they had one on fundraising. A club in Florida does this, and they had two fundraisers. One was they printed the signs that said thank you to the healthcare workers and other workers, and they sold those signs for $10 a piece. The second thing is that they have virtual Texas Hold'em games, and people pay so much, not a lot, to enter the game, and they have them twice weekly. There's a platform. I don't understand exactly how the platform works, but I will put that information in, and also recommend to you that you go to Kiwanis International Facebook page and look at their past lunch with a leader. This was the lunch with a leader of May 13th. So, and the Texas Hold'em game, having these virtual things means that we can advertise all over the district.
Mm-hmm. The other thing, there is a virtual, we haven't tried this yet, but we may end up having to do this, a virtual trivia night. And because our trivia night's scheduled for November, but our concern is that if they're continuing to have a maximum of 50 people, there's no way we can do our trivia night. So we're actually looking at a virtual trivia. I haven't vetted out all of the information yet, but that's always an option for anybody that wants to look that up.
Okay.
Mary Kay has a question about the midwinter convention. This year we decided to have regional education days instead of the midwinter convention. But about halfway through the program, the virus problem came up, and
Yes.
many of the later ones got canceled, but some of the first ones were very good.
Well, at the district board meeting, we discussed what to do with mid-year, and we're probably going to do mid-year education days again. We haven't quite decided exactly where yet. We're working on a recommendation to the board, and it will be decided on at the October meeting. But we're looking at least 4. And really, that's all we want to do, but there's so many out of the way places that it might not be logical to just do 4. So I know that's probably what we're going to do again this year. So, and the district convention is August 5th through the 8th at in Jonesboro. We'll be down in Robbins Country at the Embassy Suites in Jonesboro. So we're looking forward to that. So, and also the international convention is going to be in Salt Lake City. I think that's going to be a great venue for a conference. Any other questions? I've got all kinds of things in chat I haven't even looked at. Any new questions?
No, I just want to say, Mary Kay, you made me laugh.
Oh, I remember now. I was there Yeah, you were there, Mary Kay. Well, we really do appreciate everybody being here on the call and hope we've provided you with some good information that'll help you in your year. But we're always here. Anytime you need anything, don't hesitate to call me. I think everyone should be able to find my information. It's pretty much everywhere. And if you need anything on leadership education, Paul's the guy. And of course, Barb is a plethora of information for all of her background in Kiwanis, and we've been working on the international level. You all know she's a past international trustee. And the district just voted at our district meeting on last Saturday to support Barb and endorse her in her bid for international vice president this next year. So good
Thank
luck,
you.
Missy.
Yeah, I will need everybody's help, and we're still working out a few things. It still kind of depends on Charlie's health, so wish me luck all the way around.
And prayers. Prayers are
Yeah.
with you.
Yes.
Well, we really do appreciate it, and we hope to see you all soon. And when everything kind of lightens up, we might be able to have some meetings and get-togethers. And if you need anything, just give me a call.
Money?
Money? No money. But I could always use some money. Randy, did you want to say something?
No, I just unmuted.
Oh, well, glad to have you with us, Randy.
Yes.
Okay. Well, thank you all for being
Thank you
here.
all.
And hope you have an exciting year, and good luck to everybody.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys.
Thanks.